Time is precious. The world revolves around it, as do the financial markets. When it comes to trading Forex, the largest market in the world, even a millisecond makes a difference. At FXTM, we work around the clock to provide you with effective trading services. Whether you're a small or big investor, access all financial markets through our advanced mobile, desktop and web trading platforms. Experience the smoothest trading thanks to our innovative technology and trading conditions. Take advantage of one of the fastest execution times in the industry. Save time with quick and simple deposits and withdrawals. We are a regulated, trusted broker, so you don't have to waste any time worrying about the safety of your funds. Our multilingual team is always on call to help you. And our experts bring trader education to the next level. Knowledge is power. So the more you learn, the faster you can reach financial freedom. At FXTM, we take the time to focus on you so that you'll have time and money to spend on what matters to you most. Time is money. Invested wisely.
You write in the book, there is no faith and no courage and no sacrifice in doing what is expedient. What do you say to those viewers that don't pursue their dreams and are locked in their careers because they are too afraid to take risks and pursue something meaningful?
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. You're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. You might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years, you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
But isn't it a luxury to pursue what is meaningful? Our viewers have mortgages, they have children, they have payments and loans. It's a luxury to pursue because we lack the resources.
Well, I don't remember now, I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice. If you need to change your job too, let's say you have a family and children and a mortgage, you have responsibilities. You've already picked up those responsibilities. You don't just get to walk away scot-free and say, well, I don't like my job, I quit. That's no strategy. But what you might have to do is you think, well, this job is killing my soul. All right, so what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to look for another job. Well, no one wants to hire me. It's like, okay, maybe you need to educate yourself more. Maybe you need to update your curriculum vitae, your resume. Maybe you need to overcome your fear of being interviewed. Maybe you need to sharpen your social skills. Like, you have to think about these things strategically. If you're going to switch careers, you have to do it like an intelligent, responsible person. That might take you a couple of years of effort to do properly. We're built for struggle, us human beings. We're built to contend with the world. We're built to contend with reality. You want a challenge, and the best way that you can take on a challenge, because a challenge fortifies you. So you don't want to be secure, you want to be strong. And you get strong by taking on optimal challenges. And so you lay out your destiny in the world, and you take the slings and arrows of fate, and you make yourself stronger while you're doing so. And you might fail, and fortune might do you in. But it's your best bet. And you know, people have extracted unbelievable successes out of catastrophic failures. And I'm not saying that in a naive way. I know perfectly well what happens to people. You know, you're doing fine in life and then you get cancer, and then 6 months later you're dead. And all the heroism in the world isn't going to save you at that point. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Life is bounded by mortality. But that doesn't mean that you don't get out there and contend, and you develop by contending, and you minimize the net amount of suffering in the world. And that's something, man. That's something to do.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing today the non-farmers payrolls, which is the job numbers out of the United States. And I think personally, the volatility will be back of how we know how NFP is supposed to move. Now, for traders that are new, you just heard about that, but about 3 years or 4 years ago, I would say, about 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the NFP was actually a headline story, and it moved quite sharply. It spiked all over the show, and it was actually very fun to trade with the non-farmers payrolls, but you have to get it right, otherwise your account will suffer the consequences. But before I will get into today's show, please don't forget to register on the link below in the description. Is for the free class, where you will get a free class, free signals, and we will have one-on-one session. And please, the account must be funded, because we will do, as I said yesterday, on the job training. So while we have our one-on-one session via Skype, I will give you an indication of what to buy, and I will give you my reasons why I'm doing it, so that you can see what do I look at when I need to take a trade. So I will show you the news, where I get the news from, so that you know precisely of what I'm doing when I select a trade. And also for today, I will give out the signal on Telegram. For those of you who funded the account, so you guys or have already fund accounts on the FXTM on my link, you guys will get that signal today for the non-farmers payrolls. Non-farmers payrolls will be at around 3:30 South African time, and also not just the non-farmers payrolls, but also the Canadian employment news will also come out. Just for today, that is obviously the big event, but the Canadian news will also come out, and they expect some bad news for Canada to come out. I'm actually surprised why the Canadian dollar actually gained some strength, but that is actually based all on the oil price that's been consistent for the last few days, that's been going up. Now, the expectations for the Canadian, I will just do the Canadian, and then I will go in detail with what do I expect from the non-farmers payrolls. For today at 3:30, we're expecting the Canadian news. Now, they do expect, the forecast is negative 47,500 jobs. That is what they do expect for today, a negative number. And that is not according to their stats. So they do say that they will expect maybe full-time jobs or part-time jobs that will be negative. But you have to be very careful there. And as I always repeating myself on this, when you get the news out of Canada, you need to make sure if the majority is full-time employment or part-time employment. Because once you have, the number can be negative. But if you have a positive full-time number, then obviously the Canadian dollar will go up. Because full-time jobs, it shows that there's employment improvement in full-time, and full-time people have advantage. For example, they get extra benefits like medical aids, pension funds, and also they can have access to credit. So if you have more full-time workers, even though the number is negative, but if you have more full-time jobs that are created, then that gives actually a positive sign to your economy, that the economy is actually getting confident. Because it can be, the number can be, for example, be negative 100, but say, for example, the employment change is a negative 100, but you have, for example, plus maybe 30,000 full-time jobs, and you have a negative 70,000 jobs. So that is actually a very good number, even though the employment change is negative 100. But because of that plus 30 full-time jobs, that says a lot. It could be that you are the economy is moving away from part-time jobs and have more confidence in the economy, and that's why they employ more full-time people. So the Canadian dollar will go up in that regard, even though the employment change number or the headline number shows negative. Just that 30,000 full-time jobs gives enough confidence to say that the market in Canada is more, I would say, more stable, and that's why the entrepreneurs employs more full-time workers. So please don't forget that you need to look at all the indicators for Canada. You need to look at full-time, you need to look at the part-time jobs, and also you need to take into consideration also the unemployment number. And then the big one for today, that is now the non-farmers payrolls. Now, there is a difference between ADP non-farm payrolls, which comes out on a Wednesday, and then we have non-farmers payrolls. Now, the Wednesday's one is normally an indication of what will happen on Friday. Now, that is normally the private sector employment number that comes out on a Wednesday. On Friday, which is today, this number includes government workers as well. So it's a combined action with government workers and also with private owners. So it's just to show the reason why ADP is also important, a number. It's not good to trade with, but it's an important number to come out to show the private sector, has the private sector the confidence actually to employ more people. It's never good if a government is the majority employment holder. It's never good, because that shows that the economy is not stable enough, and that's why the government needs to employ more people. So that's why they break this number apart, so that they can see does the private sector do their part, and later on does the government add more jobs. It's good for the government maybe to add more jobs, or for me personally, they must not add jobs at all. And that's why they actually break down these numbers. So there is a lot of data that actually came through this week that may lead to a positive number of the non-farmers payrolls. And for example, if you look at the job claims number yesterday, it was the forecast was 828,000, and it comes out at 779,000. So which means there is less people on the employment insurance in the United States, so which that is actually a very good number there. So it shows improvement that less people are basically unemployed or claim actually unemployment. The one thing that was scary for me is the unit labor cost that increased actually in the United States. The number was 4.1%, and actually it is now sitting at 6.8%. So there was a sharp rise in the unit labor cost in the United States. Now, the forecast for the non-farmers payrolls in the United States, I just want to get that number because the numbers do change as the week go on. So it's never sitting still, because the forecasts do change. But what I got the last time is that they forecast about 50,000 jobs. I see on Forex Factory the number is different. They actually got about 80,000 jobs there, but they do expect about 50,000 jobs to get created in the United States. So that is the non-farm payrolls number. Unemployment to be steady at 6.7%. Manufacturing payrolls, they expect there about 30,000 jobs. And then also the big one is the average hourly earnings, and that is actually will be an important number. It's to show actually that the people's wages increase, which I doubt will happen, but they expect there a 0.3%. That is actually the forecast. So I'm just going to analyze now and I will later give you my answer. What do I think? What will be the NFP number? So the ISM PMI for services. This was also very, very good number actually. The forecast was 56.7. It came out at 58.7. So which means there's improvement in the service sector of the United States. Now, to break down the ADP number, the non-farmers payroll, the ADP non-farmers payrolls number on Wednesday, there was 174,000 jobs created, and the forecast was about 48,000. All right, so it's a massive improvement. The forecast was 48,000. The actual came out at 174, so it's a good number. They said the breakdown of the number is that small businesses actually created 51,000 jobs, medium-sized businesses created about 84,000 jobs, and then your large business was actually pushing about 39,000 jobs. And also in different sectors, the producers were producing 19,000 jobs. In the services sector, that is now hospitality industry, banking, and those type of things, created 156,000 jobs. And then your franchises was about 10,700 jobs. So all in all, I must say the recovery is still slow, but there is positive things that we can actually take out of the ADP non-farm payrolls. I was expecting a terrible number, in which it did not. The service sector of the United States actually pushed the numbers up, and the small businesses in the United States has still their momentum going in the United States. Now, other parts of the PMI was not so good for manufacturing. It was a bit bad, but I must say the services PMI in the United States holds about 70% of the U.S. economy. That is your hospitality industry, banking, everything that has to do with services. They are still the stronghold of the United States GDP. So what will be my forecast actually for the non-farmers payrolls later today? I think personally this number could be positive. This number could be positive number. It can actually be the estimation about 50,000 jobs, because one, the job claims number actually came down. Two, there is actually ADP non-farmers, the private sector did come to the party. So I do expect a positive number for the United States. Now, what the hell do we do with a positive number? Do we buy the dollar or do we sell a dollar? That is the difficult decision there. So it's not that you just see a green number, then you must buy the United States. You have to you have to look first at the data. If you have a positive number for the United States. Now, a positive number means that unemployment will go down. It shows there's a bit of a recovery in the United States. So that could lead to the word tapering, because if the job numbers increase, then they can say they can start to taper, which means they have to print less money now. That is how important this number is. So if the number is positive, it could be that they say, okay, we need to turn down the taps now, the Federal Reserve and also of the national government. The economy can run on its own now. Or there's hopes that the economy can run their own. And the whole thing could actually trigger off traders to say that the US is preparing themselves now to taper or to scale down on actually on the printing facility. So a good number of the United States may cause a stronger dollar because of the Federal Reserve that needs to actually to print less money. Now, most of the times I do say that if the number is good, you must sell the dollar. But because the US is still printing money, you have to be careful on this one. So you have to give it a bit time to see what will be the market's reaction. If the number is bad, that could actually trigger other notion for the traders to say, okay, the Federal Reserve is going to now urge the topic that the Democrats need to push this money through the 1.9 trillion stimulus package, and they are also ready to push more money in. So that could lead to actually, if they say it's a negative number, that could actually lead to a sell in the US dollar. All right. It could also be that if there's a negative number, that the dollar can rise because it is not good news at all, and people are going to duck and dive for a safe haven because then they expect a deflation, less spending, and those type of things. So the best thing to do with the NFP, I think this number is going to jump all over the show when this number gets released. Definitely is going to jump all over the show. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, and then later on the market will stabilize to know in which direction it go. So I would say personally, don't go in quickly when this number gets released, because I just painted now out the scenario. You must now know there's not one person in charge of the market. The forex market is the biggest market in the world. So you have to be very careful here, because there's a lot of traders that are going to go in because they need this job number, because the job numbers have so much points to it. For example, if the unemployment rate comes down or more jobs created, then it leads to spending, it leads to inflation, it leads to a later interest rates, and less money will be printed from the Federal Reserve. So just that number alone is so important, and that's why I say it will cause it will cause heavy volatility. So the best thing to do is rather to wait for the market to react and see in which direction it will go. It's not wise you just see a green number, then you want to buy the dollar. I did say a good number for the US dollar could lead to a stronger dollar because they will start to taper or start to print less money. A good number could also sell the dollar because traders will just see there's a good number. The world is moving away now from this whole COVID thingy, and the economy is doing well. So which means global economy will do well, and that means that the dollar will go down, because if global economy is doing well, then normally the case money is leaving the United States economy. So that could also be the case there. And then on the other side, as I explained, if the number is bad, it could mean that the Federal Reserve will print more money and also encourage the government to spend that get that 1.9 trillion deal through, and that could lead to a lower dollar, or it could lead to actually a stronger dollar to say, okay, there's trouble in the United States and global economy will not do well, less money will leave the dollar, and it could lead to a stronger dollar. So today's figure will be a bit confusing, and I think it will jump all over the show. So the best thing to do is rather wait for the number to come out. But at the same time, while you wait for the market to get the direction for the NFP, you can actually switch gears to Canada and look what is the data there. I expect a very bad number for Canada because the PMI numbers doesn't look so good. So it could be that Canada is actually will face a tough unemployment number, and also you have the Keystone Pipeline story that stopped, and that also have an effect on the Canadians. Not so much for the United States for now. That effect will also kick in later. But Canada is a smaller economy as the United States, so you will pick it up very quickly from the Canadian economy. So today's number will be actually touch and go. The best thing is to do is to sit on the fence and wait for the market to get direction, and then you can open up your trade. But the jumping will be all over the show. But I will actually send my signal out on Telegram today. So please fund your accounts, book your class so that you can also be part of this whole thing. And don't forget to register your account on the link below. And once you're registered, then you book for a class, and then you will be part of the signals group. And then also you will get cashback that is now based on your performance of trading. And as I said, we will do on-the-job training. So in class, it means that I will actually give you the signals of what to do, and I will also explain to you how do I get to my conclusion to take a trade. So please don't actually miss out on that offer because it's absolutely free. So please register. And then I will see you guys at 3:30. I will send that signal out on Telegram at 3:30 South African time. So that is it from my side. I hope you guys have a nice NFP and also a lovely weekend. That is it. See you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.
The champ is here!